So here we go, time to buckle up for the next 21 hours. We're going to be leaving Milan Central Station in the next 10 or 15 minutes, bound for Palermo in Sicily. 21 hours on board this train, including the ferry crossing over to Messina. It's going to be a great and unique trip. Milan is one of Europe's most beautiful cities, full of delightful churches, stunning architecture and beautiful gallerias. It is a city with enduring charm. But if you're a transport geek like me, you're probably also attracted to the vintage trams still in regular service here on the transit network. Remarkably, these trams have been in service in Milan since 1929. They in fact predate Milano Centrale station, which opened in 1931. It is Europe's largest station by physical size and is an imposing grand structure. It was originally going to be modelled on Washington Union Station in the USA, but the rise of Mussolini to become the Italian Prime Minister meant a lot of tinkering with the design to incorporate a lot of references to ancient Rome. The result is an impressive grand station with, if we put it diplomatically, more than a hint of Italy's past burnt into the design. Anyway, the ticket machines and ticket office are downstairs, along with some shops and other station facilities, leaving a grand hall, the exits from which onto the platforms are controlled by a manned gate line. Garibaldi station to the north handles most of Milan's local commuter traffic, while Centrale handles most of the city's longer distance services. Expect to find plenty of Intercity, Freccia Bianca and top-rank Freccia Rossa Red Arrow trains, some of which are prettier than others. The station also handles some regional traffic, including some double-decker trains. Oh, and if you ever come here, take a look at the gorgeous but now disused interlocking signal cabins out in the yard. Palermo is the furthest you can go by direct train from Milano Centrale. As the crow flies, it's about 850 kilometres, but by rail it's a considerable 1,530 kilometres, or about 950 miles. There are two main types of accommodation. Comfort is the shared 4-bed couchettes, and deluxe cabins are larger sleepers. Half of our train will go all the way to Palermo and half will detach at Messina on Sicily and head the short distance south to Syracuse. Okay, so here we go. The train is ready for boarding. The Intercity Notte down to Palermo. Got to be careful as to which carriage I get on. I'm in carriage 8. Which is in the Palermo half of the train. If I get on at the wrong section, I'll end up in Syracuse. Today I'm travelling deluxe in a one-berth cabin, which cost me €89 one way. A shared berth in the couchettes can cost a quarter of that price, but when I travelled, and as is still policy at the release of this video, you must book all 4 spaces to have solo use of the couchette room because of COVID protocols around sharing with people you don't know. Solo use of the couchette was €79 on this trip, so the deluxe, with its inbuilt wash basin and extra storage, was a reasonable investment of the extra €10. Thank you, grazie. Oh boy, I'm so glad to have a private cabin. Oh boy. Come on, let's close. Oh, it is 30 degrees. It's 30 degrees in Milan. Oh my God, am I hot? Been wearing the mask for about 12 hours. Oh, we have an opening window. I'm very excited. And some super air conditioning. That is so cool. And so we're off. This train takes 21 hours to cover the 950 miles, meaning our average speed is just 45 miles per hour. But that's understandable. In the evening, we make multiple stops until we reach Livorno, just past midnight. Then a long period of non-stop service overnight until we reach Salerno, just before 6 AM. And from there, it's all local stops down the Tyrrhenian coast to Via San Giovanni, where we pick up the ferry. A time-consuming but fun and unique experience. Grazie. Okay, so my top piece of advice for traveling on this train is to remember it doesn't have a restaurant car or buffet car or any dining facilities at all. So you need to sort out dinner for yourself. Now, some people might want to eat in Milan before they leave. This train leaves at 8:10 in the evening. Pretty good time at 6 or 7 PM to go and get something to eat. Or if you're like me and you like to break up the time on board, you might want to bring a picnic of sorts on board. This will be my dinner tonight, and I've got some bananas to provide me with some nutrition through to tomorrow. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get some food and or drink on board the ferry tomorrow morning about brunch time. But yeah, I've got my dinner here tonight. One of the reasons I do that is just to break up the time on board. 21 hours is a long time, and I don't plan on sleeping for a few hours after leaving Milan. It's worth saying that the train crew do provide free water. There's also a hygiene kit in your room, which contains a shaving kit, soap, sanitizer, a wet towel, tissues, some sort of glove, not sure what that's for, and toothbrush and toothpaste. I totally recommend taking this journey in the summer. The evenings stay light until late, and you might luck out with some fantastic weather. So, a room tour. What's in the deluxe cabin? Well, the door has a lock, but from the inside only, and I don't recommend leaving valuables in your room. Above the door, there are some controls for the temperature. It was very hot when I travelled, and you'll need the aircon up high to tolerate the Italian summers. The beds can convert into seats, and the cushions are stored up here. It's a useful place to store bigger bags too. Up to 3 people can use this cabin. The top bunk pops down from here and the middle bunk from here. Wondering how you get up there? There is, of course, a ladder, which is just here. However, there is only one charge socket near the bed, and that is hidden away right down here. The floor area is big enough to take smaller bags, and there's also a waste bin and large cupboard, behind which is the wash basin and storage for your toiletries. Note that the water is controlled not by taps, but by foot pedals. I noticed this cabin has an interconnecting door with the next one, but I've no idea if this option is used anymore. Some hangers are provided for the next day's clothes, and it's worth pointing out that each bunk space has its own reading light, intercom, and main room light controls. Finally, if you're the sort to use an electric shaver, there's a socket for that too. Here's what a deluxe cabin looks like with 2 bunks deployed. You can see it would be a bit cramped with 3 people in here, while the couchettes are in the comfort cars, and they fold down in the same way the bunks do, with the lower ones converting from seats. Only basic sheets and bedding are provided, there is no mattress in a couchette. None of the deluxe cabins on this train have an ensuite, and there's a toilet at the end of each carriage. These were all perfectly acceptable, and there was never a wait to use one. Genoa Piazza Principe station is reached just before 10 p.m. Okay, so that's it. It's just gone 11 p.m. Hoping to get about 7 hours sleep and wake up just after Salerno as we go towards the south of Italy at about 6 a.m. Now, Italian trains, especially when they get into the south, are not known for being particularly reliable. And the last time I took this train, which was a couple of years ago, actually failed to even make it as far as a ferry. So late was the train, I had to abandon my trip because it fouled a whole load of other connections that I had later on that day. But anyway, hopefully tomorrow things will go to plan. So yeah, good night, and let's hope for a fairly on-time arrival tomorrow.
Oh, good morning. We just left Salerno.
Before a light breakfast is served, a chance to stretch my legs. This is my deluxe sleeper car. We've talked about couchettes before, and I've had a few people suggest the solo occupancy of a couchette, where you would buy all 4 berths, is preferable to the deluxe. I don't quite agree, but you can make your own mind up. And to be fair, the comfort couchette cars, like this one here, have been more recently renovated, and the aircon was a little stronger in here too. The reward for being early to bed is being early to rise, and the stretch from Salerno all the way down to Via San Giovanni is in beautiful morning sunshine and well worth being awake for. So here we are, a rather healthy 75 minutes late, heading down the coast towards Villa San Giovanni, where we will be shunted onto the ferry for the crossing to Messina, and then rejoin the railway to head to Palermo on the north side of Sicily. I've got a lovely espresso coffee, which I'm going to knock back in just a second. I had a lovely 7 hours sleep actually. I fell asleep not long after we left Genoa, and managed to get a little lie in after I noticed we were nowhere near Salerno at 6 a.m. So not bad at all. Knock this back, have my little breakfast, and chill out and enjoy the scenery. This is a fantastic railway trip, massively underrated, I think, in the railway community. Oh. A small breakfast is provided by the sleeper host at a time you'll agree with them the night before. It isn't the most substantial breakfast, but it'll do. The run down the Tyrrhenian coast is punctuated by about a dozen short stops. Of course, not everyone is going to Sicily, and the timings make this train useful for someone in the north travelling to the southern mainland. The relaxed pace of this trip is perfect for admiring the beautiful coastline. I don't usually see this trip included in lists of scenic rail journeys, but this part of the world is very underrated. The simple pleasure of just watching the world pass your window is always just that bit more pleasurable when the world looks like this. There are numerous trains that use the train ferry to Sicily. This isn't the only one. There are sleeper trains from Rome too, and various intercity day trains that also cross the Straits of Messina on the ferry will take on this journey. However, if you're after a sleeper, the journey from Milan to Palermo is very favourably timed to see the scenery. The Rome sleepers, trains 1955 and 1959, both arrive for the ferry quite early in the morning, so you'll miss these views. As well as the beautiful coastline, there are some industrial relics to see too. Look out for the abandoned sugar factory at Lamezia Terme, and at Gioia Tauro, the railway viaduct for the narrow gauge railway to Sinopoli. Incredibly, this viaduct was used as recently as 2011. At Palmi, a bit of drama. We're held here for half an hour due to an unspecified incident, which turned out to be this maintenance vehicle having an unauthorised passenger. It's not clear why this man was hitching a ride, but it's worth noting that the south of Italy has a lot of unauthorised migration from refugees who cross from North Africa. But anyway, it's not clear to me what was going on here. I don't speak Italian, and the situation might have been very different. The approach to Via San Giovanni allows us to glimpse Sicily for the first time, and we pull in alongside the Intercity 728. That's a train which has just come off the ferry, having left Palermo at 7 a.m, and which will arrive into Rome at 6:30. Okay, so here we are via San Giovanni. Not quite sure if we all have to get off the train on this one or whether we can stay on, but I'm about to find out, I think.
if everyone's getting off. Let's check. Okay, so it looks like we're staying on. The doors have closed and most of the passengers still on board. I think we're going to draw forward so we can then reverse back onto the ferry. This is a procedure on passenger trains which is now unique in Europe. So we're seeing something that doesn't happen very often.
The shunting operation takes about 20 minutes at each end of the ferry journey and is quite laborious. A top tip: after you leave via San Giovanni, find a doorway which is locked and where the floor has been removed. This is where the train will split on the ferry and you'll get a front row view of being pushed back onto the ferry. Our train splits into 3 sections to fit onto the ferry and is quite something to witness. We have to shunt onto the ferry, stop, split carriages, back off, stop, and then go forwards back onto another track on the ferry, stop, split carriages, back off again, stop, and finally back on again. It is obvious why passenger train ferries are so rare, and it's not entirely clear to me why doing all of this is a good idea and why trains have to cross at all. I used to work in a control room on the British Railways and I'm stumped. I'm sure someone in the comments will be able to explain why it's not more sensible to just terminate a train at Via San Giovanni, have the passengers walk onto the ferry and then just take a separate train to Palermo. Let me know if you know the answer.
Well, here we are. Got to be a little bit careful walking so close to the train, but that is how you get a train on a boat. Next stop, Messina. So the crossing is about 20-25 minutes across to Messina. Plenty of time to stretch your legs, get up on deck, get some fresh air. I'm not sure about the policy on masks on board the ferry, but it looks like everyone's wearing one. So when in Rome, or rather when in Sicily.
If your ferry crossing is during the day, you are welcome to come up on deck, but if you take a train which crosses at night, you likely won't be able to leave the train carriages.
Well, here we are. It's empty. And just like we found somewhere to get a coffee. Our section of the train was the last on. I don't know why I'm the only person here. It seems pretty obvious. Get something to drink while you're here.
You should definitely try arancini for lunch on the ferry, by the way.
this is it. This is the ferry from Villa San Giovanni to Messina. And if you look down here, you can see that we're making a big turn. We are pivoting in the middle of the Straits of Messina. So we're kind of reversing. This is a ferry which can go forwards or backwards, no problem. And we're heading over towards Messina, which is over there. I assume the reason for the big pivot is so that the train's carriages will get off in the right order when they come to reshunt us and put us back together as two separate trains. So anyway, this is the ferry, and this is the first time I've ever been on a train ferry, and it is the only one in regular passenger service in Europe. So this is absolutely fantastic, and if you do this journey, I do recommend doing it in the summer. It is a fantastic day.
After more shunting in and out of Messina Centrale, during which we get a good look at the old roundhouse, we're off to Palermo, which will take around another 3 hours. A little time was shaved off the journey in 2001 when the Galleria Peloritana was opened. This double-track tunnel to Via Franca Tirrenia replaced and made redundant the old route through the mountains, which was slow, steep and involved single-track sections. The abandoned route can still be clearly seen on Google Earth, cutting through villages and mountains. Major infrastructure is still standing, and the site of 2 abandoned stations can also be seen. The tunnel is sensible and efficient, but it isn't as fun as the old route through the mountains, I think.
Okay, so we're going to be in this tunnel for a while. There's nothing to see out the window. So let me show you a few of the things that I brought along with me to make this journey a little bit better and a little bit safer. First things first, you've already seen the mask that I'm wearing on a day-to-day basis here. But actually in Lombardy, where Milan is, mask use is a condition of being outdoors. So if this one breaks, then I need to have some backups, like these. It is the law in Lombardy, where Milan is located, to wear a mask at all times, even in outdoor public spaces. So a spare mask is definitely something to bring. There's no shower on board the train, so bring some wet wipes and soap as well, and some toiletries. You'll be needing toothbrush, toothpaste, and hand sanitizer gel, which is in here. Hand wash, turns out they've got some on the train. That's absolutely fine, but I prefer to bring my own. And finally, because there is no entertainment on board and no dining car to meet everybody else, bring a book and perhaps some tolerance of your own company.
The line hugs the north coast of Sicily all the way to Palermo, as it has done since the late 19th century. Again, there are lots of smaller stops for us to make, but not even waiting for a late train to clear a single line section at Sant'Agata de Militeo can delay the inevitable, a storm, which, to be fair, is the payment for having a beautiful afternoon in much of Europe. This is the home stretch.
Welcome to Palermo, Sicily. Now, I'm on a trip that's taking about 3 or 4 days, and there's only 1 hour in that trip that it was scheduled to rain. And of course, it's when I arrive here in Palermo. Never mind. Off to the hotel now. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this. But until next time, I'll see you around.